Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for our 6th race of the season, the 3rd season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. Here tonight, under the lights at the world's fastest half mile, the last great Coliseum. This is Bristol Motor Speedway as we get ready for the running of the Food City 500. 75 laps of race here this evening, and if our past 2 races are anything to go by, this is really going to come down to track position and how well drivers are able to make their way through, specifically the leaders, drivers that are either on the tail end of the lead lap or drivers that are a lap down in consideration of lap traffic. That was definitely the deciding factor in the past 2 seasons' races, and I expect no less here tonight. Toyotas, boy, they were fast in qualifying, 4 of them up inside of the top 5. J Qualls, whose last and only win in the Duracell Cup Series, came at a short track, season 1 at Martinsville, lines up on the pole position. Alongside of him, 2-time winner last season, J Lopes. Now, those two come into this race in very different situations in the points. J Qualls, he's 38th in the standings coming into this race. J Lopes, on the other hand, is in the top 15 in points, 15th, and he is looking for his 3rd top 5 of the season. N Ormond is going to line up in 3rd place. The rookie's been struggling at the beginning of this season, 35th in the standings coming to this, still looking for his first career top 10. Alongside of him is going to be R Brommer, who comes into this one currently situated in the 26th position in the standings. Of course, finished runner-up in the championship points last year. Let's get command.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the driver that finished runner-up to the defending champion, R Acosta, is going to line up in the 5th position. So you've got Joanna Atwood Motorsports lined up on the insides of rows 1, 2, and 3 for the start of this evening's race. As we've gotten the command, and these drivers will roll around for their pace lap. Your top 10, the points coming into this race are as follows. Dylan Young, still the points leader. Increased his points lead a little bit since last week at ISM. He now holds 8 points over Benny Watson. Zach Rogers is 3rd in the standings. William Brock currently in 4th. And rookie Patrick Smith sits in 5th. Jack Mitchell, Phil Parker, Cole Deaver, V Almariego, and M Haas. That is your top 10 coming into this evening's race. 40 points separating the top 10, and 3 of those drivers I mentioned are rookies here in the Duracell Cup Series. Here we go, 75 laps of racing here at Bristol. Let's roll at the last great Coliseum. J Qualls trying to edge ahead with the lead. J Lopes fighting on the top side. J Qualls' teammate N Ormond right there as Qualls will clear for the spot. He'll go to the lead. Ormond trying to take 2nd place. J Lopes trying to maybe just find a spot down in the inside line, but that's going to be filled in. R Brommer now going to cross to the inside for 3rd place. We got a car in the wall back there. That was Jordan Lopez in the 38. They were almost 3 wide coming off the corner, but it looks like they're going to keep it straight at least for now. So Qualls to the point. Ormond into 2nd. Best battle's going to be for 3rd. Actually, it's even better back here. 3 wide. William Brock, M Saatchi, R Acosta. That's a battle going on for 5th place. And Brock, who went up the middle, is going to take the spot. R Acosta now kicked up to the outside line. Charles Belding, who had a good run last week at Phoenix, Arizona at ISM. Ooh, saw Adam Garcia get a little loose there on the bottom. As Belding's going to move into 8th, Belding actually moves into 7th. Garcia now going to take 8th from Acosta, who is still stuck on that outside line. Battle here, this is for the 4th position. William Brock to the inside of R Brommer, M Saatchi in this mix as well. Last week we saw another first-time winner in his career in the Duracell Cup Series, Charles Sandfer, winning at ISM. N Ormond up there in 2nd place, would love to make it back-to-back weeks. I should also mention, too, I saw him back here not too far back. There he is, the 33 of J Thibodeaux, our winner earlier on this year at Las Vegas. He comes into this race in a pretty critical position. He's 33rd in the points coming into this race. And remember, you have to be in the top 30 in the standings for your victory to count towards the playoff position. So for Thibodeaux here today, obviously he'd love to be able to go to victory lane for a 2nd time, but he also is trying to get himself back into the top 30 in the standings. The other driver that might be in a little bit of trouble, might try and want to keep himself away from that cut line, would be K Friesen, our winner from Atlanta. Carter comes into this race 23rd in the standings, and if my calculations are correct, he's only 15 points ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line. Phil Parker, Patrick Smith, these two right now coming into this race, I believe, are tied for the rookie points lead. Patrick Smith 5th in the standings overall, and Phil Parker 7th. He gained 13 spots last week after a great outing at ISM. Austin LaPlante, Kyle Mathews, and Jacob Thibodeaux all kick Ryan Acosta up to the top side. The 10 continues to lose spots. Ooh, got a nice battle here. There might have been some contact between Charles Belding and Adam Garcia as they're going to fight it out for the 7th spot. Further up, William Brock making strides. He's now going to try and take 3rd place away from Cody Llamas. I think William Brock, at least right now, may have one of the fastest cars in traffic, but we've also got a battle for the lead heating up between a couple of teammates. J Qualls with a rear deck lid full of rookie N Ormond. 13 laps into this race, and we're going to start getting into the stage of the race soon where these race leaders who have had nothing but clean racetrack ahead of them are going to catch up to drivers on the tail end of the lead lap at the very back of the pack who had to basically have their good laps stifled because they were in traffic. When they get around to the start-finish line, we'll see just exactly how far they have to go before they're going to catch the tail end of the field. And there is Jordan Lopes. You can see the right side damage on his NVIDIA Ford Mustang. He did get into the wall, as I mentioned, back around lap 2. And as a result, he is now back here in the 40th position. And you could see there was not much distance between him and the race leader. Lopes on the back straightaway now. Qualls was just in the middle of 1 and 2. Look at J Qualls running that defensive line on the inside, not allowing N Ormond to be able to make a move on him into turn 3. And as these two are battling each other nose to tail, William Brock is reeling them in. That last time by, he cut down the advantage by 0.6, and he is within striking distance of the top 2. N Ormond's going to make a pass on J Qualls. I think he might want to make it sooner rather than later because he does not want to then get himself boxed in when they catch those drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. Drop back, see if any battles are heating up here inside of the top 10. Not right at the moment. Austin LaPlante currently now in 9th. Kyle Mathews just broke the top 10. Everybody, for the most part, has gotten themselves pretty well single file. How about Zach Rogers there? 17th on the running order, right behind Levi McIntyre. Zach comes into this race 3rd in the point stand. It's been a very consistent start to the season for him, but he's still looking for his first win of Season 3. A couple battles that might be brewing. Here's one, M Saatchi, now on the back bumper of Cody Llamas. That'd be for 4th. Not able to quite get the run off of turn 4 just yet. N Ormond swings it to the outside line there out of turn 2. It's going to cost him a little bit going into that corner, and look at William Brock starting to close in even closer on these two Toyota Camrys. As I stated, I think 75 laps, if I remember correctly, last year it did come down to pit stops. I think we had a caution, though, that kind of took away the green flag pit stop strategy. So we may end up having green flag pit stops in this race. We are going to be about a third of the way through in the next 2 laps. And there you see the top 3, nose to tail, Qualls, Ormond, and Brock. Qualls looking for his first win since Season 1. William Brock, I believe, is also doing the same. I think he went winless last year. And N Ormond, thought he might have a problem right there because he looked like he was pulling down to the apron off that corner. But no, I guess he was just running a defensive line against William Brock. Of course, for N Ormond, he's looking for his first win of his Duracell Cup Series career. And look at the cars ahead. J Qualls is going to have to deal with. They are side by side ahead of him between V Almariego and Jordan Lopes. You've got Dylan Young, our winner from Manassas. Back here, Keith Batson, Carson Gum, our Daytona 500 winner. As J Qualls jumps to the outside on Jordan Lopes. Is he going to be able to make that work, though, or is N Ormond going to be able to get the race lead away from him? Lopes got a little loose there on the bottom. I think Qualls might be able to swing around the outside, keep the race lead, and now N Ormond might be boxed in behind the 38. So a nice pass around the top side by J Qualls. I think that's how these race leaders are going to have to make passes too, because I don't think anybody's going to be willing to give up the bottom unless they're forced to that outside line. And with these leaders having to deal with traffic as well, that's going to bring more drivers up here into the hunt potentially for the race lead. M Saatchi back there in 4th, Charles Belding in 5th. As these guys here, these race leaders, their lap times are going to get slower being in traffic. That's going to allow all these other guys who've got clean racetrack in front of them to be able to catch up. Nathan Ormond now is going to get to the inside of Jordan Lopez. That'll open the door for William Brock, M Saatchi as well. As right now, V Almariego is being able to at least keep about a car length ahead of race leader J Qualls for the moment. But these guys that are ahead of race leader J Qualls, they're not going to move out of the way for 2 reasons. Number 1, they don't want to find themselves trapped a lap down. And number 2, the cars that are ahead of them, they're battling for position. There's a battle within the battle going on right now. Different drivers on different laps with different agendas battling for different positions. V Almariego, though, you saw J Qualls with a nice move on him. He's going to get to the inside and pass him. Now sets his sights on Dylan Young in the 2 car. The points leader coming into this race is about to get lapped before the halfway point at Bristol. N Ormond got kicked up to the outside line. That's going to be a battle for 2nd. William Brock's going to take it. M Saatchi's up in this mix now as well. And ooh, almost a little contact there. Dylan Young almost got into the right rear quarter panel of J Qualls. That would have been the race leader. And now Qualls looks in his back window and he sees the bright red Cinevis number 88 of William Brock, our winner from the Clash earlier on this season at Daytona. And look at them wadded up back here. Nathan Ormond right now in the 4th position, but then you got Charles Belding, Adam Garcia, Cody Llamas there as well. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th that have all caught up now into this lead group. Battle for the lead is on. J Qualls kick to the top side. William Brock on the bottom. Qualls has T Wright up top in front of him. Keith Batson's on the bottom in front of William Brock. Can Qualls get around the 39 perhaps? We saw him make a power move around Jordan Lopez on the top side. Looks like that car is really good in the 2nd groove. You can see that car fishtailing there as he's trying to get some grip with that PJ1 up on the outside line. And Qualls, boy, that car is strong when he has to move up to that 2nd groove. Makes the pass on the outside line around Keith Batson. That now leaves a battle for 2nd between Nathan Ormond and William Brock. Usually when some contact there between M Saatchi and Nathan Ormond caused the 21 to have to check up. But normally when a driver at tracks like this qualifies on the pole, good grief, William Brock gets forced up the track 3 wide, and he may brush the wall a little bit there as well as a result. But when a driver qualifies up at the front, especially on the pole at tracks like this, they normally have the car built with a lot of downforce, which normally can hurt that race car when you get into a long green flag run under race conditions. But J Qualls' car, he's proved he can make passes on the bottom, he can make passes on the top. And right now, he's looking like he is the car to beat in this race. Let's go back here. This is where all the action's going on. From 2nd place on back, Nathan Ormond right now in P2, M Saatchi 3rd, William Brock 4th, Charles Belding up there in the 5th position. Belding, after last week, I said he had a good run at ISM. I just looked back, and that was actually incorrect. Belding was en route to a good run, but he ended up getting a pit penalty late in that race and finished 2 laps down. And that dropped him to 39th in the standings coming into this race. So having a good run, though, trying to bounce back, as we've also got a battle back here between Adam Garcia and the 12, Cody Llamas, the 84. That's for 6th. And now the rest of the top 10 have caught up to this group of cars that are now off the lead lap. Ryan Brommer, Austin LaPlante, K Mathews, Jacob Thibodeaux, Carter Friesen all battling. That's for around 8th on back through the 12th position. Let's move back up here towards the front, as Nathan Ormond still has not gotten around Keith Batson. J Qualls has been able to pull away. Next car he would catch would be Daytona 500 winner Carson Gum, who right now is scored in the 35th position. If we're looking as far as the battle for the points lead, I think that right now you'd have to look at maybe Zach Rogers and Benny Watson, the 2 that would be battling for that. Right now Rogers is in the 19th position, and Benny Watson is right there. He is in 29th. He was 8 points behind Dylan Young coming into this race. Dylan Young is off the lead lap. He is currently scored in 38th, so Benny Watson's running 10 positions ahead of Dylan Young. So right now, Benny Watson, I think, mathematically would be in position to take the points lead heading into next week. Battle's going to be for second, as Nathan Ormond finally gets around the lap car of Keith Batson. He brings Marcus Saatchi and William Brock along with him, maybe Charles Belding as well. This is going on about 1.7 seconds behind race leader J Qualls. That time, actually, Ormond cut down the interval between himself and his teammate, but only by about 6 1/1000ths. As J Qualls having to deal with teammate Johnny Gardner here. Johnny Gardner not really willing to let his teammate on by. He's going to try and put up a fight, and that's going to hurt the lap times of J Qualls at least just a little bit, as Nathan Ormond's about to cut down the interval between himself and Qualls to about a second. Now it's going to be another lap machine, though, that Nathan Ormond's going to have to deal with. A teammate for the 41. J Qualls about to catch more traffic as well. Carson Gum, Matt Haas, Mitchell Collins, all next on the hit list. Looks like Nathan Ormond's going to make a move to the inside of Johnny Gardner. Gardner tried to block him and almost got turned for his troubles. And Nathan Ormond, according to the intervals, is continuing to reel in J Qualls, so we could have a battle for the race lead on our hands momentarily. Talked about Carter Friesen, our Atlanta winner, coming into this race, 23rd in points. He's doing a heck of a job to make sure he's going to have a nice cushion between himself and 30th in the standings. He just cracked the top 10, getting around Kyle Mathews, now into the 10th position. And not a bad run for Jacob Thibodeaux as well, 33rd in points coming into this race. 12th is where he's currently scored. So both those drivers doing a good job to either keep themselves in the top 30 or maybe make their way back into the top 30 in the case of Thibodeaux. We just had an exchange for the lead. J Qualls went up the track. Nathan Ormond got to his inside, and Nathan Ormond is now the new race leader with less than 25 laps to go. So now Nathan Ormond's going to have to deal with traffic. He's got Carson Gum and Matt Haas side by side with each other. Those two are battling for position. Now J Qualls are going to see if he's going to be able to battle back and wrestle the lead back away from his teammate in the 41. If Nathan Ormond wins as well, it'd be the second time in Duracell Cup Series history that the number 41 has won here at Bristol. Wyatt Quayle, a former driver for Joanna Atwood Motorsports, the defending winner of this race. Matt Haas now put a lap down. J Qualls trying to get to his inside, and he's got Marcus Saatchi now hounding him for second. William Brock, Charles Belding, Adam Garcia all there as well. This race is not over, though, because this is the longest green flag run we have had at Bristol since it started back in Season 1, the Duracell Cup Series. So some of these drivers, they could be close on fuel in the closing stages of this race. While still getting around Matt Haas, he now will clear him, I believe, going into turn 3. Marcus Saatchi right behind him, though, is now Nathan Ormond trying to get by Carson Gum. Not quite going to be able to make the move just there. Boy, Ryan Acosta dropped back quite a bit. Looks like he may have brushed the wall. We saw he had trouble holding the bottom early on. He's only back in 32nd. That's after starting this race from the 5th position. Carson Gum's going to make a pass on him here. That opens the door for Nathan Ormond as well to get by his teammate. We'll watch the interval from first back to second as Ormond's having to deal with traffic. J Qualls right now, along with Marcus Saatchi, they're running nose to tail, and they might be able to reel in the 41 in a battle yet again for the race lead. That time, they cut it down by half a second. Only 7/10 separation between the 41 and the 54. Charles Belding got around William Brock, as did Adam Garcia. Brock now falls back to 6th. So Belding up to 4th, Garcia up to the 5th position. And look at this, nose to tail, Ormond, Qualls, and Saatchi, as Carson Gum refuses to let them by. J Qualls might try the top side. We've seen him make some passes there before. Gets into the back of the 41. It's going to hurt his momentum, and that's going to open the door for Marcus Saatchi to go for second. Nathan Ormond will get to the inside of Ryan Acosta. We got a little loose there on the bottom, though, as these tires wear down. Not a whole lot of grip down there on that inside line. Charles Belding now going for third on J Qualls. Marcus Saatchi seems committed to the top side. Will he try and go around the outside line on Nathan Ormond? Now he'll duck down to the inside and pass the lap machine of R Acosta. Belding now moves into third as Ormond continues to have issues with the 19 of Carson Gum. But this time around, when he hits the stripe, it will be 10 laps to go. Now dives into the inside on Carson Gum. I think he may have him here coming out of turn 4. Well, then again, he got a little loose. Carson Gum still trying to fight. Marcus Saatchi in second place, trying to reel in the 41. Last season, Marcus Saatchi got his first career win at Lime Rock, the road course, looking for his second. Ormond will clear Carson Gum. Not quite. Carson's still there on the outside line. J Qualls is now slotted back into the 4th position, just ahead of Adam Garcia. But that car's handling has seemed to go away the longer we get into this run. Ormond now clears Carson Gum to put him a lap down. Now Marcus Saatchi has to do the same, and he's got to do it quick because we're getting close to the end of this race. Next car that Nathan Ormond would have to deal with would be the 22 of Mitchell Collins. But he's quite a ways ahead, so maybe Ormond might not have to deal with him. Still having to get around Carson Gum is Marcus Saatchi, and Charles Belding is all over his back bumper for that runner-up spot. Saatchi looking to the inside on Carson Gum. Carson tries to throw the block, maybe a little contact as the 21 moves the 19 up the track. Marcus Saatchi knows it's go time. He's got to get around the 19 so he can try and reel in Nathan Ormond for this race win. But Carson Gum stubbornly on that outside line, not going to give up any track position. Saatchi, I think, might get him cleared here going into turn 1, but he's only got 4 laps remaining. Clean racetrack for the moment for Nathan Ormond, and about a 1.3 second gap between himself and Marcus Saatchi, who now clears Carson Gum. Does he have enough time to reel in the 41 car? Nathan Ormond, when he hits the line next time by, it will be 3 laps to go for the Burger King Toyota Camry. 3 laps remaining. The interval between him and Marcus Saatchi right now, 1.8 seconds. He is catching the 22 of Mitchell Collins, but I don't know even if he catches him, if he'll be slow enough for Saatchi to be able to reel him in. Belding now has to get around Carson Gum, his teammate there, currently battling for 3rd with the 12 of Adam Garcia. Ormond has caught Mitchell Collins with 1.5 laps remaining. A little less than 2 seconds between himself and Marcus Saatchi as the white flag is in the air. 1 more lap to go. 6 races into the season, who would have thought we'd have 2 drivers with rookie stripes on the back bumpers going to victory lane? It was Jacob Thibodeaux in the 3rd race of the season at Las Vegas. Here tonight at Bristol, Nathan Ormond will get first career win Duracell Cup Series at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And in back-to-back seasons, the number 41 of Joanna Atwood Motorsports is going to take the checkers at the world's fastest half mile. Nathan Ormond came into this race situated in the 35th position in points. Started the race from 3rd, had to wrestle the lead away from teammate J Qualls, and never looked back. Had some difficulty there with Carson Gum in those closing stages trying to put him a lap down, but after he got clear of the 19, he pulled away, and there was nothing that Marcus Saatchi was able to do to be able to reel him in. He cut it down there on the final lap by about 0.2, but he would have needed another 8 laps if he was going to get to the back bumper of the 41 to battle for this win. So Nathan Ormond becomes the 2nd rookie to win this season, consequentially might be putting himself in position for a playoff spot as well here in his rookie season. Marcus Saatchi is going to have to settle for 2nd. Still a good run for him, though. Marcus had a great run last week at ISM that moved him out of dead last in points and follows it up with a 2nd place run here today at Bristol. Charles Belding, how about these rookies? Belding with a 3rd place run, another driver that needed a good finish. Matter of fact, you look here at Ormond, Saatchi, and Belding. Those drivers, and you count in Adam Garcia as well in the 12. All 4 of those drivers came into this race outside the top 30 in points, so well-needed runs for all of them. William Brock's going to finish the night out in 5th. J Qualls faded back late think the handling on that car went away, or else the tire wear went away, the grip that he was able to get. He's going to have to settle for 6th, but a great run for him after starting on the pole. C Llamas brings it home in the 7th spot. Austin LaPlante in 8th. Remember, those two got into it last week at ISM. Surprised that with the two of them within close proximity of each other here tonight, a track that you see short track, short tempers. Surprised a little payback didn't happen between those two. Carter Friesen brings it home in 9th, and Jacob Thibodeaux in 10th. We mentioned Friesen needing to gap himself from 30 in the points, and Jacob Thibodeaux having to work his way back into the top 30 in the standings. Both of them with solid top 10 outings here this evening. Ryan Butcher brings it home with an 11th place run. Aaron Macklin in 12th. We didn't talk about him all night long. He pops up into the top 15 late. Kyle Mathews 13th. Jack Mitchell there in 14th, so that'll keep him in the top 10 in points, I think. And Levi McIntyre is going to finish the night out in the 15th position. The rest of your top 20, Ryan Brommer, last week's winner Charles Sandfer, Michael Norman, Jessica Shelton, and Patrick Smith, who finishes one position ahead of Phil Parker. So it might be Patrick Smith by 1 point ahead of Phil Parker for the rookie points lead as well. Look on down through the remainder of the finishing results. Benny Watson just barely finished on the lead lap in the 29th position, but he finished ahead of Dylan Young by 9 positions. So right now it looks like by 1 point, Benny Watson will be the points leader heading into next week's race. And you see all the drivers that finished off the lead lap. Carson Gump did not retire from the race, by the way. He just, his pit stall was sooner than others. So when he came to pit lane and retired out of the race at the conclusion, he retired before the standings became official. So he actually just finished 1 lap down in the 32nd position. But you see a lot of drivers here that struggled. And it's kind of interesting, too, because you look at Charles Belding. He had a great run, but his teammate Carson Gum struggled. You had both Nathan Ormond and James Qualls with great runs, but their two teammates, Ryan Acosta and J Gardner, finished way back there. So Adam Garcia, we saw him finish up in the top 5. But Dylan Young, his teammate, finished back in 38th. So very interesting to see how different drivers from different teams did well. But on the flip side, other drivers from that very same team struggled here this evening at Bristol. But that's going to do it here this evening for our coverage from Bristol Motor Speedway. Nathan Ormond becomes the second rookie winner here this season as he takes the checkered flag in the Food City 500. Next week, we're going to be going dirt track racing, our first dirt track stop of the season at the Springfield Mile. Michael Norman, if memory serves me correctly, is the defending winner heading into that one. But thank you all so much for tuning tonight's race from Bristol. Clean and green, the full 75 laps. A lot of jostling for position, including the race lead. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, become part of the group today. We've shown you full picture results. These are what your point standings look like heading into next week's dirt track racing at Springfield Mile. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.